On episode 347 of Nintendo Switchcraft, we've got my impressions of the Pokemon Direct, new NES games, what's playable at E3, those stories and more on this episode of Nintendo Switchcraft. Stick around, here we go! Hey everybody, welcome back. Switchcraft is brought to you live 3 times a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. US Eastern, and on Saturday at whatever time I can get to it. You can tune in live with awesome people by joining us over at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp. This episode of Switchcraft is brought to you by Paco V. Get Switchcraft and my other content ad-free for as little as $1 by heading on over to patreon.com/runjumpstomp. If you want to be part of the show, leave a voicemail by heading on over to runjumpstomp.com/voicemail from any device, and I'll even play the voicemail on the show. That being said, we've got a lot to talk about, so let's get started.
What's it like to play the Nintendo Entertainment System?
All right, well, let's talk about what it's like to play Final Fantasy XII. I was going to talk about this last episode, but I just didn't have time to fit it in. So I'm starting off with Final Fantasy XII. I have been playing that game. I've really been enjoying that game. I'm at probably around 10 hours in so far. And I know that's like scratching the surface with a Final Fantasy game. But I just kind of want to talk about my impressions of it so far. First off, the opening scene, like, seldom has a game hooked me so fast. The opening moments of the game, the first 30 minutes or so, are very intense, and I almost want to say like Star Wars. Like, it very, very much reminded me of Star Wars. I think when I did my when I played it for the first time, I think I streamed it over on my Twitch channel. And like, I think I said that as I was playing, I was like, man, this feels like Star Wars. It's so cool. I love all of the different species that are in the game. I think it's really cool. The voice acting is actually really, really great. And I know this is a PS2 game that has been remastered and whatever, but I never played it before. So I'm having an absolute blast with it. The combat is really good, but I feel like I've made some mistakes. The mistakes that I made have been not specializing one of my characters very early on to be a healer. Like, you end up getting these two characters that hang out with you, and of course you get to pick what your character does, right? And my character, I was like, I just kind of looked through all the classes and I was like, oh, this guy is like a spear and shield. And I thought that sounded kind of cool. Or just spear, I mean. So I figured I'll go with a spear for this guy. That sounds like a lot of fun. You don't often have like spear characters in games. And then eventually you end up getting these two characters in your party. And when they joined my party, I looked at the weapons they had. One of them had like a bow and the other one had a gun. And so I figured, well, I probably want to stick with that. So I looked at the list of things that they could become, the classes, because you get to select the class of every character that joins your party. And so I said, well, I'll make this one with the gun a machinist, and I'll make this one with the bow an archer, because I feel like that thematically makes sense. What that means is that for a very good portion of the beginning of the game, which I've been playing through with no healer, which has been forcing me to focus on potions and Phoenix Downs. Like, when my characters die, I use Phoenix Downs a lot, and drinking a lot of potions. And I'm running out of potions all the time, and it's been making it really, really difficult. But I was doing a little research because I was having a lot of trouble because I have no healer, and there was this boss that I was fighting against that I actually don't have to fight. I'm supposed to run away from. And I guess they kind of said that to me, I guess, but I was talking to my wife at the time and I got distracted. So I missed the part that I was supposed to run away. Like the character said, we can't defeat all of them. We need to, defeat who we can and run. And I didn't catch that part because I was distracted by shiny things. So I ended up trying to fight him over and over and over, and I just kept losing real bad. So I ended up doing some Google foo and trying to find out what is it that I'm doing wrong. And a lot of people were saying, well, you really need to. I mean, I also found out that I'm not supposed to fight him. But a lot of people were also saying, make sure that one of your characters early on is a white mage, which is a healer. So the next character that I unlocked, it was a white mage. And I've gone through they've got a really cool specialization um, method in this game. So you pick a class, and then you have what is called, and I have to look because I can never remember the name of what it is that I'm looking at here. So let me just, you have the license board. So if you open up the license board, it looks like this chessboard almost, and each space has like things that you can unlock that you have points for. Like right now, I have license points. That my character Van has 64 license points. So I can go into this thing here, which says accessories 4, and I can unlock accessories 4 for 35 license points. And that gives me the ability to wear a battle harness and a steel gorget or gorget. I don't know how to pronounce that. Don't at me. So every character has all of these different licenses, and I can just hit the R button to switch between the other characters' licenses. And there's a lot of customization. Like you can unlock spells that your characters can play or can use. So for instance, my white mage, I when I got them, I spent all of their license points to make sure that they had all these healing spells unlocked. And now I need to go to like a market and buy those healing spells, because it all it does is unlocks the ability for that character to use that spell if you own that spell. So now I have to go back and buy spells. Now I want to take a second and talk about combat, and then we'll get to the Pokemon stuff and everything. The combat in Final Fantasy XII is wildly different than any Final Fantasy game that I've ever played. It plays out in real time, and you control everybody in the party, but that's completely overwhelming. So they have this thing called the Gambit system, which is really, really cool. It's actually based on, I found out some of this stuff when I was doing research. It's actually based on the enemy AI from Final Fantasy IV. The guy who made the enemy AI for Final Fantasy IV decided, let's use this to help control your characters. So how does it work? Well, you have these commands that you can give to them, like a priority list of moves that they will do in combat. Like if if you don't have the spell protect on yourself at the beginning of combat, cast protect on yourself. And then the next thing that you should do is, if there's a party member that has less than 60% health points, then you should heal that party member. If that's not true, then you should attack the character that, or the enemy that is nearest. Or you can set it up to, if an enemy is weak against fire, use fire spells against that enemy. And there's a whole bunch of different gambits that you can purchase, because you start with just 2 gambits, and you can unlock the having more slots, more customization slots through your license board. But then you can also go to the gambit dealer, and they will sell you things like targets. So things to look out for, like if a target is weak against ice, like that's a gambit that you can buy, and then you can set up your characters to play with that. And somebody might be listening to this and saying, so wait a second, you do all of this stuff ahead of time and then you go into combat and combat plays itself? Yes, that's kind of the way it goes. But of course, it's not a perfect system, so there's player intervention. So anytime you want, you can press the A button, it brings up a menu, and you can tell your characters to do the things that you want them to do in that moment. And as soon as they finish doing whatever it is that you tell them to do, they go back to running their automation. It sounds really weird, but it's really fun, and I like it a lot. I'm having a lot of fun with Final Fantasy 12. All right, those were my thoughts on Final Fantasy 12. Let's talk about my thoughts on the Pokemon Direct. And I just realized I typed them up on my iPad. So let me grab my iPad and we'll take a look at what I said about the Pokemon Direct. There we go. Where is it? Oh, you know what? I think it's in Notability is where I typed it up. So the Pokemon Direct happened the other day. And first off, I got to say, the game looks beautiful. Like, they really, really nailed the look of this game. I think it looks gorgeous. I loved the way that that Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee looked as well. I think that that's just a beautiful, beautiful game. The music that they played in the Direct, I despise that music, but most of the time I don't like music with words in it unless it's from the 70s and 80s and 90s. Like, I'm just kind of a snob when it comes to music with words in it, and especially the style of music that they picked for this. It's just not for me. I didn't like it. That doesn't mean that it's not good music, because that's, subjective, but I didn't like it. The Pokemon that they showed, I thought looked pretty cool. There was the metal bird that called Corviknight, looked really, really cool, and he can fly you around, basically giving you fast travel. I'm not going to go through everything. I know everybody's very, very excited about the sheep Pokemon. I didn't really care about that one. I thought Dreadnought looked really cool. The things that jump out at me as really, really important. The wild area. This feels like an area of the game that is different from the rest of the game. So the rest of the game it seemed like the rest of the game plays like a regular Pokemon game where you have, random encounters and you can't see the Pokemon. You go into the grass and then a little exclamation point pops up, all that stuff. I thought that I thought that was going to be the whole game. And I was fine with that. I prefer being able to see the Pokemon in the world, like in Let's Go, and that's what you can do in the wild area. It seems like. So in the wild area, I guess the Pokemon that are going to be around will depend on where you are in the wild area and what the weather is like in the wild area, which I think is very, very cool. So, you can. You know what I hope? I hope that there's what would be very cool is if they give you an app on your phone, or just use the Nintendo Switch Online app. If they use the Nintendo Switch Online app and they put a little thing on here to give you notifications for hey, it's raining in the wild area right now. You can go and catch water types or something like that. I think that would be very, very smart. Or you could just link it to Pokemon Go and have it send you information that way. Either way is fine. I think it would be cool if they did that. When you're in the wild area, you have control over the camera, which is very, very cool. It feels much more like an immersive. It feels more like an MMO that way. And you guys know me. I love MMOs. MMOs are fantastic. So I'm very excited for what's going to happen in the wild area. And there's more, which I'll get to in a second. They said specifically, you have control over the camera so you can find Pokemon easier. So I feel like that's them saying that there's not random encounters in the wild area. And they even showed like it wasn't super obvious, but they even showed like the character moving, and I think that you could see like some Pokemon off to the side. Um, and then in the rest of the game, I think that they have random encounters. So then they showed off, and I'm kind of going out of order, but they showed off you fighting against Gyarados with a giant Raichu. So the gimmick in this version of Pokemon is Dynamaxing, where you can push a button and your Pokemon gets really, really huge for 3 turns, and you can use it like once per battle, and you use it to fight against a Dynamaxed Pokemon, which is neat. I like that idea. The thing that we need to keep in mind though is it's really, to me, it doesn't feel like it's any different than in Pokemon XY. You could hit a button and it would change the Pokemon into, like, if they had unlocked a stone or something. I can't remember off the top of my head, but you would hit a button and it would give you access to different moves. That's basically what Dynamaxing is, and people are acting like this is some huge change. It's more of the same. That being said, it's fine. I didn't personally get excited about that, but what I did get excited about is the max raid battle system. And the max raid battle system is where in the wild area you'll have like these stones that shoot a beam of light up into the sky. And when you see that beam of light, you can go to that stone and then you can pair with other players, up to 4 players, and you can work together to try and take down a Dynamaxed Pokemon in the wild to catch. Now, when you do this, only one of the 4 players can actually Dynamax their Pokemon. So you need to be able, you need to be able to communicate with each other. So you can say, okay, make sure that you hold off your abilities until this happens, because when I Dynamax, I can use ability X in order to, lower their resistance to fire or something. So everybody make sure to have your fire type Pokemons out when I Dynamax, that kind of thing. I doubt that they're going to give you any way to communicate in the game. So you're going to be relegated to using Discord or being in the same room. Now, when I first saw this, I got really, really concerned because they specifically said you can play with friends locally. And they specifically said that you can play with other players from all over the world. But in the direct, they didn't specifically say that you can play with friends all over the world. And that made me very, very nervous. However, on the website, it says that you can play with friends from all over the world. So I think that that means that the Pokemon Company is not falling down the same rabbit hole that or tripwire or whatever that they're not falling into the same trap that's happening with Mario Maker 2, where Nintendo seems oblivious to the idea that people want to be able to play with their friends. So I'm very, very happy about that. I think that another question that I had, which was also answered on the website, was what happens if I'm playing with, let's say, my son and I are playing together and we want to do a raid? Do we have to have 4 players? The answer is no. If you can't find other people to raid with, it will backfill with bots, basically. So you'll have bot trainers that will join you and on your fight against this Dynamaxed Pokemon. Now, there are some Pokemon, like I said, you can only earn through the Dynamax or through the raid battle system. But people have been asking for a Pokemon MMO for a very long time, and it seems like this is as close as we're going to get anytime soon. These 4-player things. I think it's kind of cool. So Captain Logan in chat says, I think Dynamax raids is going to be closer to raids in Pokemon Go. I don't think so, Captain Logan. This is 4 players, player A, B, C, and D. They all get together, and those are the people who are attacking the monster. In Pokemon Go, it's really like everybody is around, and they're all just attacking at the same time. I assumed that this is uh like in Pokemon Go, everybody just attacks nonstop. There's no turns. I believe that in the raids in Pokemon Sword and Shield that you're going to be taking turns and working together. Nintendo, or not Nintendo, the Pokemon Company said specifically that communicating with people is important, which, begs the question, then are we going to be able to talk online? Probably not. So don't worry. If you haven't joined the Discord already, join the Discord, runjumpstomp.com/Discord, and you can use the Discord in order to communicate with the people that you're playing with. Oh, you got a good community there. All right. So my next question is, what happens when somebody leaves the raid? I assume that a bot just comes in and fills their place. That would be fine. Are they able to get back in afterwards and the bot will leave and have them replaced? I don't know. There's a lot of questions. This made me ask a bunch of questions that we still don't have answers to. So I figured that they would try and get all of this stuff out of the way before E3, but now I have a bunch more questions about Sword and Shield that haven't been answered. I anticipate that we will probably see a lot of this answered during Treehouse, which, if you don't know, is Nintendo's almost like their after show. So they do all of their big announcements at the Nintendo Direct, which again is on the 11th. So make sure that you're there for that. That's next Tuesday. And then the rest of the week at E3, or the rest of E3, they have the Nintendo Treehouse, where they show off all the stuff that they've announced, and they also announce other stuff as well. The game comes out on November 15th for pre-release. You can buy a dual pack. But if you are going to buy the game, just a quick little sellout ad here. If you buy it through Amazon Prime, you get a $10 credit when you order Pokemon Sword and Shield. And the good thing about that is, and I posted this on Twitter, so you can find this post on Twitter at twitter.com/runjumpstomp. But you get a $10 credit when you order Pokemon Sword or Shield from Amazon by using my link. And if you're not a Prime member and you're like, oh man, that's too bad, you can also get a free month of Prime by clicking on my link. Go to the show notes or follow me on Twitter, and you'll see the link to that tweet. And you can directly support the show and get a free month of Amazon Prime, and then take advantage of that Prime thing in order to get the $10 credit on your Amazon account when you pre-order Sword and Shield. I did go on Amazon and I did not find the double pack, which is the pack that I think a lot of people want. I personally don't want the double pack because I want to get the game on digital, because I'm a digital guy. I like digital. But good news for me, they have the Nintendo Switch game vouchers, and they updated their special offers thing to show that Pokemon Sword and Shield are eligible to use those game vouchers. If you don't know what the game vouchers are, you can buy a voucher for $99.99. Well, it gives you 2 vouchers for that, and then you can use those 2 vouchers on eligible games. So Pokemon Sword and Shield are $60 a piece. The vouchers together are $100, so that saves you $20 if you're going to buy both of them. And it's not limited to just Sword and Shield. It's just those were the 2 that were recently added to it. I think it's a good deal. I don't know if I'm going to do it myself, just because, like, what's the word that I want to say? I don't know that I like spending all that money at once. I prefer to just buy the game when it comes out. But hey, who knows what I'll end up doing. All right, let's take a quick break to thank our sponsors, and then when we get back, we are going to talk about the Nintendo Switch Online and the new edition of some NES games. All right, Nintendo Switch Online, if you don't know what it is, well, I don't know what you're doing listening to this show, but Nintendo Switch Online lets you have access to play games online, And it also gives you some NES games each month, usually 3 NES games. The 3 NES games that are coming out this month are City Connection, which I have never even heard of. I don't know anything about this. City Connection is one of them. The other one is, or the next one is Double Dragon 2: The Revenge. Huge fan of Double Dragon 2. That is my go-to beat 'em up of choice on NES. I love Double Dragon 2. One of my buddies, he like, because I got a RetroPie and he came over and he was like, "Do you got Double Dragon 2 on this?" I was like, "Yeah, we can fire that up." So he fired that up. I died pretty early on, and he ended up going through the entire game and beat the whole thing. The third game that's coming this month is Volleyball for Nintendo Switch Online. Okay, it's cool. Keep in mind, all of these games can be played online. So, City Connection, I could not care less about. Double Dragon 2, I think it would be really cool to be able to sit there and go through and play that game with some friends. So, if you're interested in that, make sure you join our Discord. I'm sure that people will be playing through that. And, maybe we can even have like a volleyball tournament for the Run Jump Stomp community. That's something that I just thought of. We can try, because we did that with the NES Open Golf, and I think that was pretty fun. So we can try doing that for volleyball. If you haven't joined the community, join it, and I'll post the details of that some other time. Let's talk about E3. We've got a bunch of games that are going to be playable at E3, and I'm sure my nose is very itchy. That's why I keep pausing. I'm sure that this is not the full list of games that you're going to be able to play at E3, but we will be able to play Pokemon Sword and Shield. You will be able to play The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, which tells me that it's further along than I like. I assumed that we wouldn't touch that game until November. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it will come sooner. Who knows? But Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening for the Switch is coming, or not coming, is going to be playable on the show floor. I'm not going to be there, so I'm super sad about that, of course, because I want to be able to get hands-on with these games. But I'm looking forward to hearing about what everybody says. Luigi's Mansion 3 will be available as well, so people are going to be able to play that. And Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, will be playable as well. I'm not super excited about that. That game's not, that's not far off. That game comes out in July, so I don't really care about being able to get new information about that, because we're going to be playing that in our house pretty soon. And of course they have the and more, which is very important, because immediately everybody was like, what about Animal Crossing? I think, like, this has been my opinion for a long time now. I think that Animal Crossing, thank you. I think that Animal Crossing is going to be the big game at E3 this year. Like, it's going to be huge. And I think Nintendo wants to surprise us, even though almost everybody who follows this stuff is assuming that Animal Crossing will be there. Nintendo has not said that it will be there. So we will be surprised when it is. And, if they said it would be playable there, then we would know it would be a big feature. So that's my guess, is that Animal Crossing will be playable at E3. And, Nintendo's just kind of trying to keep their cards close to their chest. Just a reminder of their live stream schedule, which, again, you can find this over at e3.nintendo.com. But their live stream schedule, first off, on the 8th, that's Saturday, they have 3 tournaments: Mario Maker 2 Invitational, Splatoon 2 Championship, Smash Brothers Championship. That's 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's my son's birthday. We're going to be busy doing birthday stuff, so I will not be streaming that. I am planning on recording the podcast very early that morning, though, so if you want to hang out and be part of the podcast, make sure that you're there early, or follow me on Twitch so you get alerts when I go live. Let's see, what else? Then June 11th, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. Eastern is the Nintendo Direct, where we're going to have lots and lots of information. I have heard that it's about 45 minutes in length, which sounds bananas to me. By the way, if you haven't gone back and listened to my last episode, go back and listen to all of my E3 predictions so that you can make fun of how wrong I was when the real deal happens. Keep in mind the E3 Direct, again, I won't be able to live stream for that either because I will be at work at that time. So, sad panda. And then, of course, June 11th through 13th, we will see lots of Nintendo Treehouse stuff, where I'm sure that even more stuff will get announced. I'm excited. I'm very, very excited for E3. I'm curious as to what your predictions are for E3. We're running out of time for you guys to make your predictions. So send me messages on Twitter at RunJumpStomp. Use the hashtag Nintendo Switchcraft and let me know what are your predictions. Okay, we're coming up on half an hour already, so I want to make sure that I wrap up the show. We're going to lightning round everything else for the show today. So let's hit the lightning round.
Frogger, Sega's arcade game, now a home video game from Parker Brothers, the ones to beat.
All right, here we go. We've got breaking news. Asphalt 9 Legends enters a new era. That's this YouTube video. This is an arcade style racer. Looks cool. Very realistic looking graphics. Like, I prefer things that look more cartoony and stuff like that, but this looks really fun. I like that it's not a, what is the name? What is the thing that I'm trying to, oh my God, look at that guy. Billy Mitchell just came up on the screen. Sorry about that, people. That was huge and really zoomed in on his face. Asphalt, it looks very arcadey, which I like. I'm a fan of arcadey style games, so I like that a lot. Another game that's coming to the Switch that I am excited about is Darksiders Genesis. Now, I have not played the other Darksiders games. A lot of people liken them to Zelda, and they compare them to like a dark and gritty Zelda style game. I've not played them. I've heard extremely good things about them. This one, Darksiders Genesis, is very, very different than those other games. This one does not play like a Zelda game. This one instead is going to play more like a Diablo game. And that really gets my attention, which is weird because, Zelda is like my favorite game of all time. You would think somebody telling me that there's a game like Zelda would be exciting to me, but I think that just makes me want to play Zelda. There's very few games that play like Diablo. I think I can count them on like one hand. Path of Exile, Diablo. Oh shoot, what was the other game that I'm trying to think of right now? Torchlight. Torchlight is another game that comes to mind. I'm excited for Darksiders Genesis. It's going to come to Xbox One, PS4, Nintendo Switch, Steam, and Stadia. And I'm looking forward to playing it. I don't know where I'm going to play it, though. I haven't made that decision yet. And the reason I haven't made that decision is because it's also going to play on Stadia. And I made the pre-order for Stadia stuff today. If you care about Stadia stuff at all, make sure that you subscribe to Stadia Cast, which is my Stadia podcast. We're going to be talking about the Stadia announcements on Sunday. But Darksiders Genesis looks really, really good. I'm excited for it. All right, we've got feedback from It's a Bug Hunt Man. They asked, is this confirmation that Luigi's Mansion 3 is now the official title and not a working title? And I would say, no, that is not confirmation. I don't really care what they call the game. Whatever. Oh, that's right, Misfit, Marvel Heroes. I mean, for crying out loud, I interviewed David Brevik, who's the creator of Diablo and Marvel Heroes. And I forgot about Marvel Heroes. That was a great game. I wouldn't compare Marvel Ultimate Alliance Captain Logan to Diablo. They play very differently. But, it's been a long time since I played Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I just feel like this Darksiders is more... okay, you meant Marvel Heroes. Okay. Anyway, that's beside the point. I got distracted by chat. Thank you, chat. But yeah, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, or dang it, I screwed it up too. Marvel Heroes was a great game. I was a huge fan of that game, and its life was cut too short by Disney buying and consequently giving it the old axe. All right, let's button up the show. Become a part of the community. RunJumpStomp.com/Discord. Join us live when we stream. Twitch.tv/Discord. Get a hold of me at RunJumpStomp. Use the hashtag Nintendo Switchcraft if you want to support the show. Lots of ways you can do it. You can go to RunJumpStomp.com/thank you. Like you can buy this exact shirt that I'm wearing, and if you're listening to the podcast, then you don't know what shirt I'm talking about, but that's okay. You can buy my Press X shirt by heading on over to runjumpstomp.com/thank you. And if you want to check out my other shows, runjumpstomp.com/shows. The music that you are hearing right about now is Corneria Star Fox remixed by Noteblock. They're awesome. Check them out. I'll see you guys next time. That's my show. Bye-bye.